This video is going to collectively review the amendments in the Bill of Rights that deal with criminal rights stuff. Like what are the rights that accused individuals have in this country? The first is the Fourth Amendment. The Fourth Amendment, hopefully you remember from 10th grade, protects against unreasonable search and seizures, meaning like law enforcement government can't search your stuff within reason. Generally, law enforcement must show probable cause to a judge on why they want to search your stuff, and then the judge will make a determination on whether or not to issue a warrant, which would give them the right to do that. Now, it's important that law enforcement go about, searching things in the right manner, because a 1961 case, which is not one of the mandatory cases you need to know, but you need to know what it established something called the exclusionary rule. So if law enforcement go about getting evidence in an unlawful way, like they violate the Fourth Amendment, that evidence can be excluded at trial. Meaning, if it's proven that they got like a murder weapon illegally, that they would not be able to bring it up during trial, and the jury would never know about it. So it's important law enforcement go about this the right way. The Fifth Amendment protects against double jeopardy, which is being tried for the same crime twice. So you're being charged with murder. The jury finds you not guilty. They can't try you again, like with a different jury, right? The government gets like one shot to charge you with the same crime. Now, if you are accused of committing a different murder in the future, that doesn't apply. It's like the same initial crime. Also, we hear about the Fifth Amendment a lot because it protects against self-incrimination. If you are being accused of a crime, like you can't be forced to testify against your own trial, to testify at your own trial. You hear people say like, "I plead the fifth," meaning like you're not going to talk. Like if you're accused of a crime and you're put on trial, you can't be forced to testify at your own trial. And it also protects against like unlawful eminent domain. Eminent domain is essentially like it requires the government, if they seize your property for some government official reason, that they have to justly compensate you for that property. So it's a little bit different than the other parts of the Fifth Amendment, but it just does set the ground rules of like the government has to compensate you fairly if they need to take your land to build like a new highway or a government building or something like that. The Sixth Amendment provides like the necessity for a speedy trial. Like you can't be charged with a crime and then 10 years later they get around to your trial. You are the right have the right to an impartial jury. You have the right to confront witnesses, right? Your lawyers have the opportunity to cross-examine people that are speaking out against you. You have the right to an attorney, the right to counsel. That's obviously a fundamental right that accused individuals have in our country. And one of your mandatory cases, which we'll talk about in more detail, is Gideon v. Wainwright, which reinforces the fact that no matter what crime you're accused of, you essentially have the right to an attorney. And then the Eighth Amendment prohibits cruel and unusual punishment, excessive bail, excessive fines. Generally, like the punishment has to fit the crime, like kind of stuff. And remember, we talked about earlier in the year that the Supreme Court has ruled that the death penalty is not a violation of the Eighth Amendment, unless we're talking about it being used against those deemed to be mentally ill or like juveniles in this country. So these are your basic criminal rights amendments found within the Bill of Rights.